All rise. The Honorable Roger L. Gregory, Circuit Judge of the United States Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the performance of our national anthem sung by Dr. Lisa Edwards Burrs.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Welcome to you all. My name is Jamie Bosket. I have the distinct honor of serving as the president and CEO of the Virginia Museum of History and Culture. It is truly an honor to welcome you all here and everyone watching across the building and online to your State History Museum, to this exceptionally special ceremony as we celebrate together the 249th birthday of the United States. Today, on this special day, 82 people from 40 countries all across the globe will officially become the newest citizens of the United States of America. And it is my honor to remind you that we are gathered today in the oldest museum in this Commonwealth, founded nearly 200 years ago, and still today, the only museum entirely dedicated to saving and sharing the story of Virginia for all Virginians. More than 9 million historical artifacts are cared for by this museum, one of America's great history collections. Places like this have an important and timeless role to play each and every day, but especially so at times of occasion, times of celebration, commemoration, anniversaries, milestones, our shared commemorations. Of course, we have a big one coming up in just a year. You heard me say that, 249 years, meaning next year when we're gathered at this time, we'll be celebrating a once-in-a-generation moment, an opportunity for us as Americans to come together, to reflect on our shared past, and to invest in our shared future through a deeper understanding of and a greater determination to fulfill the promise of our founding. This is an opportunity, extraordinary in our lifetime, to advance democracy, to lift each other and our nation up to our highest potential, to recommit ourselves to the ongoing journey towards a more perfect union. As Virginians, we can all take a special dose of pride in being a part of the ongoing work of this very institution to preserve and share Virginia and American history. We are playing a leading role, not just in this Commonwealth, but in the nation, in the upcoming commemoration of America's 250th. And we will meet this moment. We will meet this moment not simply as a commemoration of a war for independence, but as a commemoration of world-changing ideas. Not simply as a celebration of a point in time, but a celebration of an American journey. After all, in our first 2.5 centuries, our nation, through the determination of its people and with its unlimited capacity for reinvention and renewal, have made immense progress, working to realize all along, through struggle and sacrifice, through achievement and resilience, the promise of America. Here at the VMHC, we will meet this moment in an expansive way, deploying one of the most robust commemorative programs of any museum in this country. We will mount 2 major exhibits and travel those exhibits to some 50 communities across this Commonwealth. We will host numerous programs and events, publish new works, and make one of the largest investments in statewide civics education in our history. In fact, just this week, and I share with pride, that the widely respected nonprofit organization Virginia Civics and all of its beloved programs for students and teachers has officially become part of the VMHC, further establishing this museum as the preeminent K-12 civics education hub in this Commonwealth. That's worth a round of applause. There really is a great deal of good work happening here, happening across our Commonwealth and our nation, and much to look forward to in the months ahead. I thank you all for being here today and for joining us in this effort in the days ahead. As we proceed with today's most special ceremony, I would like to offer a few words of gratitude to the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services for their lasting partnership. Also, our appreciation goes to the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia and the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit. And also, in particular, I am pleased to offer our collective gratitude to the Honorable Judge Roger Gregory for his continued and absolute passion for this exercise. I extend our thanks to the Daughters of the American Revolution for their help today, members of our Board of Trustees of this museum, and also all of our dedicated staff and volunteers who've been working tirelessly all day and for days leading up to make today possible. Let's thank them as well. I'd also like to recognize the generous support for today's collective events and festivities, our friends at McGuire Woods, also Tracy and Mary Moss Walker, and also the support of the Bob and Melinda Sled Independence Day and Citizenship Fund here at the museum. And finally, I also want to recognize that we pay tribute today to the memory of Jess Aber, former U.S. Attorney, who is a great friend of this museum and of these exercises. It is now my pleasure to introduce Assistant United States Attorney Robert McIntosh to present today's candidates for citizenship. Welcome.
On behalf of the United States government, it is my pleasure to present these 82 applicants from 39 countries who've been approved for United States citizenship. In addition to taking the oath of allegiance, there are 12 applicants petitioning for a name change. Each applicant has been personally examined under oath by a designated officer. Each one has demonstrated an understanding of the English language, knowledge and understanding of the fundamentals of history, and the principles and form of government of the United States. Each one has been found to be a person of good moral character, attached to the principles of the Constitution of the United States, and well disposed to the good order and happiness of the United States. And now, with the court's permission, I would like to call the applicants by country of origin. Candidates, when your country's name is called, please stand and remain standing until you are invited to be seated. Afghanistan, Antigua and Barbuda, Bhutan, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Brazil, Cameroon, Canada, Colombia, Congo-Kinshasa, the Czech Republic, Egypt, El Salvador, Ethiopia, Germany, Ghana, Guatemala, India, Iraq, Ireland, Italy, Jamaica, Kenya, South Korea, Mexico, Nigeria, Pakistan, Peru, the Philippines, Poland, Saudi Arabia, Slovakia, Sudan, Tanzania, Thailand, Togo, Venezuela, Vietnam, Yemen, and Zimbabwe. Your Honor, I now move that the court grant the name changes to those petitioning for change of name and ask the court to administer the oath of allegiance to our new citizen.
Mr. McIntosh, your motion is granted. All of the candidates for citizenship, please raise your right hand. And if you are prepared to take the oath of citizenship, say, I am. I am. All right? Say I, state your name, and thereafter repeat after me. And I'll tell you, please get your programs because it's long and I want you to say every word. I don't want to say you stumble over anything. It's okay to get that. You have it? Everybody have it? You good? All right. I state your name. Hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or a citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by law, that I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States, when required by the law. That I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law. And that I will take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Congratulations. I know we're tight here. Let's give them a standing ovation. Yes. Yes. Woo-hoo. That's it. Thank you, everyone. Let me be the first to say, welcome, my fellow Americans. Well, you know, when Mr. McIntosh made his motion, he made several representations. And I listened very carefully, and it sounds like you've been working hard and you know a lot about our government and our history. When I was practicing law, once we had an oath like that, you knew the code, that you read all the rules of procedure. The judge would sometimes call you up and say, well, tell me what this rule means. I won't do that today. But I'll tell you this, you probably and likely do know more about our system of government and the formation and the bicameral legislature and the three branches of government than most people who have been American citizens a lot longer than you. So you worked hard. I'm taking out my phone, not to time myself for here. I'm just trying to see, just in case I get a call. That was a joke. All right. As you heard, first of all, I had to thank Jamie. Mr. Bosket, you have done a wonderful job with this museum, culture, and history. It is the pride of our Commonwealth. And it is the pride of our Commonwealth. Yes. And in fact, the treasure of our nation. I mean, you're a Virginian. History is in our DNA. And thank you, Ms. Barris, always for a lovely rendition. Mr. McIntosh for the motion, and all those are here. You know, I want to talk to you a little bit about, first of all, congratulate you. My topic very briefly is a sober sense of citizenship. A sober sense of citizenship. And these are not from my words, they're inspired by the person who penned the Declaration of Independence that we celebrate now, the 249 years ago. He said, it was by the sober sense of our citizens. Listen, it was by the sober sense of our citizens that we were safely and steadily conducted from monarchy to republicanism. And that it is by that same agency alone we can be kept from falling back. Sober sense of citizenship. Ben Franklin had alluded to that warning and challenge earlier. The day they finished the Constitution in Philadelphia, I know you all know, September 17, 1787. A lady came to him and said, have you given us a monarchy? What have you given us? And Ben Franklin looked at her and said, no, it's not a monarchy. I've given you a republic, if you can keep it. If you can keep it. So the sense and what was required, as Jefferson said, was a sober sense of citizenship. But there was hope, because in 1821, Jefferson said that the flame that was kindled on July 4th, 1776 spread to too many places around the globe to be extinguished by the feeble engines of despotism. No despotism can quench this flame that was lit some 249 years ago. but it is our responsibility to keep it lit. So I hope to inspire you in terms of your sober sense with poetry and the sense of the spirit of a poet. On October 23rd, 1963, our 35th president, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, gave the eulogy of Robert Frost at Amherst College. It was quite ironic that it was on October 23rd, because 30 days later, he himself would fall to assassin's bullet and the nation would mourn and eulogize him a month later. But what he said, I'm trying to hope to inspire your contribution that you'll make as citizens. He said that Robert Frost, the great American poet, he made contributions, and 3 he noted. 1, first, what it was not. His contribution was not to our size, but to our spirit. And the same thing for you. It's not that you have to grow our GPA and economy and all those things. Of course you will. You'll be a part of it. It'll help you and help all of us. But his contribution was not to our size. His contribution was to our spirit. Because it was the spirit that led us to our independence. It was the spirit that led Jefferson to pen those words. It was the spirit that people labored for 4 or 5 months in Philadelphia and came out with a document called the Constitution. But it was we, the people, who gave that power to a government whose first mandate was to establish justice. So it's the spirit that you will give to this nation, just as Robert Frost did to us as a poet. Jefferson went on to say in 1815, he said, the cement of this nation is the heart blood of every American. I do not believe there is on earth a government established on so immovable basis. The spirit, the heart spirit, that is what the foundation was. These are the people who framed it. They knew that. We, the people, probably the most important words in the Constitution, because not many governments are based on the people given the power to have a national government in a federal system that has state powers also reserved. Complicated, but a wonderful, simple, powerful document that some 204, well, not 200 plus years, 30 some years, we still are governed by it. It is the poet's spirit. And in that spirit, he talks about life. Frost said that I've known midnight and I've seen the day. He said that he understood that the ordeal as well as the triumph of human spirit, that's what gives us strength to overcome despair. Those people like you have worked hard and all of you have stories, difficulty, wherever you come from and what do labor have to do in this day, ordeal and triumph. But whatever it is, that spirit is what kept you going, that you would not be defeated and you're here today. That's a sober sense of citizenship, to keep moving as the poet did, whether it's midnight or whether it's the dawn of a new day. The second, his contribution was not to our political beliefs, but to our insight. Insight is a powerful word. It's the idea that you apprehend the inner nature of things. In other words, you're not a superficial. You just don't look and say, oh, I know what that is. You don't prejudge. You don't label the color of skin, what name they call God, or who they love or whatever. No, instead, you look at the inner nature to see what the core is, to understand, to put yourself in a situation that you can make an authentic assessment by looking in the landscape of another, and then making an accurate report of what you saw without prejudice and that prejudgment. And lastly, to make an accountable response. That's what insight is. As President Kennedy said, you have to have the courage to take a long look and not be distracted by the slogans and prejudices of the moment, but make an honest judgment about difficult things that you see. That's insight. That's what the poet did, Frost. The third, it was not to our self-esteem. Everybody wants self-esteem. But no, his contribution was to our self-comprehension. It's much more important. What people say about you and plaudits and those things, they're nice, and degrees on your wall and pats on your back, they're fine. But how you understand who you are, not who you say you are, but who you are, that's what the poet does. And it's a sensitivity to a concern for justice that motivated him. And to understand also, even when our nation falls short of its potential. Those are the things when you understand yourself and the power. Kennedy said that Robert Frost coupled poetry and power. And that's what the kind of sober citizens I want you to be, to put poetry and power together. And he said, when you do, it means that put it together, poetry has a way of saving power from itself. When power leads men toward arrogance, poetry reminds him or her of his limitations. When power narrows the area man's concern, poetry reminds him of the richness of diversity and his existence. When power corrupts, poetry cleanses. That's sober citizenship and what the poet did for us, enlightening us. As I move on to close, another president before I close, Lyndon Baines Johnson. In 1965, after Bloody Sunday in Selma, he said that there are times in man's, it should be women's too, but man's endless search for freedom, it comes a turning point. And so it was at Lexington and Concord. You know that, when a ragtag group of farmers came together and faced up to a British troops, the beginning that led to a nation conceived in liberty that we celebrate. Second was at Appomattox. It was the end of a war. They're leading our nation back together in terms of a great conflict, leading to the 13th and 14th Amendment, as Lincoln would say at Gettysburg, would bring forth a new birth of freedom. And Selma, he listed, a march for equal rights of citizenship that led to the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Those are things of courage, of sober citizenship, not afraid to see things as they are, to embrace the richness that America holds. William Blake said it well in Eternity, the English poet. He said, "He who bends to himself for joy does the winged life destroy. But he who kisses joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise." That's what I want your citizens to be, to live in eternity's sunrise, not bending it to yourself, but let it fly. And I see some of you have already done that, and thank you for your service. A lot of Americans don't know. You don't have to be an American citizen to serve in our armed forces. And you see there in there, thank you for your service. You see already, literally, the boots hitting the ground already before citizenship. That's what I'm talking about, the ilk. Yes. It would depend, our nation will depend on your sober sense, unselfish spirit, virtuous character, courage, and enlightenment. Kennedy said, and I said 30 days later, he himself would be gone. He said, "I look forward to a world which will be safe, not only for democracy and diversity, but also for personal distinction." And that's what we look for, your personal distinction, as you also labor for all of us to be all that you can become. Let nothing hold you back. As my pastor would say, you're all family now, so you can get your own Kool-Aid out of the refrigerator. You don't have to ask anybody for anything. So drink heartily, replenish yourself, get your nourishment, and go out and do the thing. And I heard Ireland there. And the last thing I'll tell you about, very short, an Irish writer, his name is Frank O'Connor. Kennedy said about him, he tells the story in one of his books where as a boy, he and his friends would make their way across the countryside. And when they came to an orchard wall, it seemed too high and too doubtful to try, and too difficult to permit their journey to continue. So they stared at the wall, and they took off their caps, and they threw their caps over the wall. And then they had no choice but to follow. Throw your cap across the wall, whatever that is, and then make sure that you go get it, because then you'll have no choice but to follow. God bless you.
Thank you, Your Honor, for your inspiring words, and congratulations again. It is now my privilege to invite forward one of our newest citizens who's been selected by our friends at USCS to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would please come forward. As he comes forward to the podium, and the steps are right over here, I'll just give you a brief instruction. He's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And we will say these words together. So no delay, no repeating. We'll put our hands on our hearts, we'll look to the flag, and we'll say these together. Please rise.
This one, right?
Yep.
The Pledge of Allegiance.
The United States of America,
United States of America,
Republic,
and Republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, invisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you like to say a couple of words?
Yeah.
Please. Please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor. Hello, everyone. Happy 4th of July. My name is Burhan, and I born in Afghanistan. When I was 16-year-old, due to last 45 years ongoing war and economy issue, I decided to leave my country, and for 27 days, I crossed the Pakistan and Iran by walking. Finally, I arrived in Turkey. After 4 years, I applied for UNHCR, which is some of you all may be familiar with. Eventually, I was fortunate enough to be accepted by the United States of America. And I received my visa in 2020 to come here in the state. Now, as I stand before you as a proud new citizen, I am filled with gratitude and happiness. The United States has given me the opportunity to build a good life, pursue my dreams, and seek happiness. I want to express my deepest thanks to this great nation for welcoming me with open arms. I promise to do my best to serve and protect this country and contribute positively to our community. And I actually did. I stepped in earlier. Last week, I submitted my application to the Virginia State Police 142nd Basic Training. And this is just the beginning. Thank you, everybody, and congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that's enough to make today just perfect. So thank you so much for your thoughtful words, and thank you all. New citizens, here's your final test, I suppose. You'll be directed by our friends by row, and you'll proceed outside the theater doors to then re-enter on the stage to receive your certificate. You'll receive your certificate, proceed across, down the steps, and right back to the same seat that you've just departed. Are we ready? Okay, let's begin.
Maricela Jesus Navidad Gulen. Laura Lizette Edgerton. Ariel Baez Perez. Anya Brightly. Edwin Gutierrez Fortis. Adair Han. Charles Bakia. Marcelo Armeta. Lenny Vasquez Guevara. Hinebahin Amish Patel. Danvi Amish Patel. Dilara Adiliar. Amy Rose Celeste Oaks. Hussein Kanbar Safar. Quang Kun Lee. Kata Zildjic. Shanice Julene Cummings Green. Collins Botchway. Erica Natalie Martinez. Maurice Oswald Brown. Vita Mastelers. Nuria Antonia Hernandez Amaya. T. Trung Tran. Shabana Barkat. Atira Karti. Chung Duk Win. Eliza Alice. Alec Carrasco. Ian Patrick Murphy. Ama Segbaya. Fiona Taplin. Kimisola Ayodele. Raphael Anthony Waweru. Eva McInnes. Katarzyna Nizelska Hessler. Jose Daniel Antonio Lovo Marquez. Mohammed Maz. Fatima Musa. Nubia Kasun. Sandra Reyes. Hilda Patricia Gonzalez Torres. Elio David Estrada. Thomason Naomi Liadi. Borhanedin Hosseini. Jaswi Omar Kolop. Alejandro Munoz. Merrick Basler. Panipa Singh Sidi. Youssef Basal Halmi El Rafai. Daniela Luno. Raul Guerra. Zinash Waldez. Nancy Guadalupe Castres Torres. Gerardina Elizabeth de la Pena. Leek Lee. Sergio Pablo Chaparro. Maxwell Manyara. Vino Gopal Mateti. Laquisha Tamia Nia George. Khalid Hussein. Binafsha Nouri. Somia Shoab. Nora Amogrin. Lady Tatiana Orozco Para. Sinkanesh Bekele Habtiwold. Rodeli Robledo Vera. Lloyd Roy Scott. Tika Ram Younghang. Dhruvi Satishbai Patel. Milagro Pompili. Daniel Rojas Vasquez. Devota Vitalis Timu. Yasmila de las Mercedes Gonzalez Para. Camila Flesh. Clara Flesh. Marley Mariellis Ramirez Tutil. Brittany Nashasha James. Thank you. Maria Eloisa Davia Jimenez. Fatima Ahmed Abdul Sharhan. Adil Saeed. And last but not least, Oscar Enrique Alde Ramos. Thank you.
How about one last rousing applause for our fellow citizens? Come on, stand up. Thank you, thank you. Please be seated. Our ceremony is nearly complete, but the patriotic fun, I promise you, is just beginning. I invite you all, your family, and everyone here outside in our Commonwealth Hall for a little celebratory Happy Birthday America cake, lemonade, and patriotic music. And I hope you'll also take advantage of the other activities taking place at the museum today. Especially, I'll call your attention to a very rare today-only display of very special American documents in our library just upstairs. And also, I'll call your attention to Virginia's official 250th commemorative exhibit on display now called Give Me Liberty, Virginia and the Forging of a Nation. And specifically to our new citizens, in your packets today, you'll find the details to begin your 1-year family membership to your Virginia Museum of History and Culture. I thank you all. I thank you so dearly for being here. I wish you all the joy of independence, and I hope you'll now join me and Dr. Lisa Edwards-Burrs in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. To the mountains, to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
This honorable court stands adjourned, sine die. God save the United States and this honorable court.